everyone. Good evening from wherever you're watching from, right? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, irrespective of the time zone of wherever you're watching from. I hope everybody can hear my voice. I hope you can hear me. All right. So today is another beautiful day. First of all, let me use this opportunity to a happy new month. Happy new month of February with one of my can apply, but a lot of questions from people. People have our own time. She also has a lot of things, but I had to beg her to create time for this particular session. So I would like everybody to be attentive to everything that she's going to be saying, because I'm not just bringing a guest that is not in the UK wants to share this with it, or drop it in the comments. You can also, just drop it in the comments. Once I pick your question, our guest is going to answer your question, right? So we are basically going to be touching on how you can also do this yourself, the schools that you can apply to, time for you to tune in and be a part of what we are doing today. All right. So I'm going to be bringing in our guest speaker shortly, and hopefully, yeah, she's here already. So I'm just going to bring in her up. Please make sure that share it to your community, share it on your WhatsApp status, share it on your Facebook story, invite people to join this particular set whole lot. So you have the opportunity to learn how to apply the DIY methods, on how to go through the process. So with clapping ovation, I'm going to clap because I'm not really seeing the comments or anything yet. So I'm going to be bringing in Oluwadamilola Elizabeth Dada on screen, and she's going to be sharing with us everything. So I'm going to be asking her questions, and she's going to respond, and that is how it will go. All right. So let me just bring her on stage.
Hi. Thanks so much, sis. Good evening. I hope everyone can hear me. I don't know. Okay. Good evening, Gabby. It's
Is
so.
that good evening? Can you hear
It's.
me?
I can hear you, but it's not really that clear. I think it's on and off, but I can hear you a little. Okay. So I don't know if.
Okay. All right. Okay. Adeleke said he can hear. All right. Thank you. Yeah,
Oh,
I can
okay.
hear you
Thank
also.
you.
How are you doing? How is everything over there?
Oh, well, I'm doing good. How are you too? So good to see you. It's good to do this with you. Thank you so much for having me. And good evening, everyone that's been on
Yeah.
the call.
Thanks for creating time for this session.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. After the session, let's postpone the gist. Can you still hear me?
I can, but I don't know. I think I mixed some parts of your words. I don't know.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. I can hear you, but I missed some parts of your words. I don't know.
I think it's just the network over here.
Okay. Okay, I think I heard you now.
She is a content creator. She is a master's degree in
Oh no, it took it off right now. Okay. Hello.
my network.
I'm not sure I have you again here. Oh no.
Teach my network.
Hello. I think yeah. You're back now. Went off.
All right, it's my network.
Okay. This network should hear the word of God, so that we all can, because I'm actually struggling to hear anything right now. Hello. No, no. Hello. Oh no, what's going on? I can barely hear anything. Oh, okay, you can hear me. Oh, thank you so much. Star, is it Mr. or Mrs. Adeleke or brother or sister? Thank you so much. I think the network is just poor at Coach Gabby's hand. I hope that she'll be able to come on live again. Oh wow. Okay, is anyone still here? Ah, okay, brother. Nice to meet you too. Thank you. Okay, I think Gabby is off completely. Let me just try to see you. Okay, I think I'm the only one left here. Okay. Um. Okay. Let's see. She's able to join again. So sorry for this network glitching. Okay, I think she's back. Let's see if she's on in a few minutes' time. Okay, I think she's on.
So can you hear me now? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I think I can hear you now. and yeah, I can see you.
All right. I'm so sorry, guys. Sorry for the
Yeah,
break in translation. I'm
that's
so
fine.
sorry. I had to change my network to another one. So,
Okay, that's fine. I think
all right.
that's it's a good one now.
Okay, so let's just continue. I was about to ask you
Okay.
I was about to ask you to share your journey. I mean, everybody has a story, so I don't want to assume that you just, traveled to UK and everything just, went like that. So I don't like to assume.
Oh,
So I would like you to share your journey because I feel like some of us will
wow.
learn from it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sis. It's actually a long journey, and so I'll just say first of all, it's nothing short of God's grace. That's all I can say because I think your planning started in 2022, and then starting with having my passport done. And from there, trying to be like, okay, where are we going? What school are we looking at? And, stuff like that. And after doing all of that, and it felt like, okay, we're looking at the possibility of it coming to, fruition maybe in the next year, that's 2023. But along the line, it all felt like, did we do this with our own strength? Like, I mean, like, it doesn't look the way we are taught of at some point, and it was quite very hard. Let me say financially, oh no, I didn't want to like financially, no, it was something else. So he was just like I deferred my admission at some point because I wasn't able to meet up with my visa application for the first time. So it was even at that point I was like, I beg, I'm not going to UK again. Let's just forget this thing because it just felt like nothing was coming forth and there was no help. There was nothing, even the old savings, because I was already planning with my fiance that we're not married. That was around in 2021. We've been talking about it. So we're just feeling like even with the little savings we had, we're like, I should be enough now. Nigeria was still okay at that time. So it was just like at the middle, it felt like nothing was enough. And I had to defer my admission then because my visa application wasn't successful because there was no finances to run it. And then I applied again the second year, and at the same point of visa it was stuck again. And I was like, what's going on? Let me just forget this thing. In fact, I had even just given up finally. I was like, God, I've prayed, I've fasted, we've reached out to people. Then what's going on? If you don't want me to go, like, if you didn't tell, like, you didn't say it as at some point of like, I felt like God was really telling me, God has given me signs and lots of it. Like, I'm not doing it again. I was confused and I was frustrated. I'm not doing. So it was at that point of letting go and letting God. That was when it came through. In fact, I'd lost hope completely. The help just came from nowhere. People were just rushing to like, let me give you this, let me give you this. And that's how I did my application, my visa application. And then yeah, I'm in the UK. So it's been nothing short of God's grace. So yeah. So that's how the story. But I know that as time
Wow.
goes on, when we get into the questions, I'll be able to dive into some of those things that happened more. But that's just the summary of how I got into the UK. So yeah, thank God.
Wow. I didn't know that you tried it twice.
Oh, good. I did.
Oh,
In fact,
wow. I didn't know.
yeah. Oh,
You
God.
know, the way people paint UK, they're like
Mm-hmm.
straight away,
I know.
that's the way
I
people paint UK.
know. I know.
That's the way people
But
paint
yeah, yeah. But that's
UK.
just the side of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Wow,
it.
thank God. Thank
Yeah.
God. All right. So the second question I have here is, so how did you apply for the master's degree? Because I know that you went for master's. I saw the
Yes.
graduation and everything. It was beautiful,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I love the way you kept on posting because it's not easy.
Seriously, it wasn't
It's not
easy. Oh,
easy at all.
no.
It's not.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not easy. I understand. So
Yeah.
how did you go through the application process? How did you find out
Okay.
about the school? Like, just run us through the process.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, like I mentioned, after I think the first stage that is very important is just get your passport done. That's the beginning of everything, because when the passport is ready, you can start doing anything. So when my passport was ready, I think we reached out to one of our family friends. So let me just say that we started with an agent but not like an agent per se, or like a family friend, but is into this whole traveling, study, so is into it. And then he was like, okay, these are the schools that have helped people come into the UK. Mentioned, I think about 4 or 5 schools. Then he was like, okay, let's apply to this, let's apply to this, let's apply to that. I was like, okay, let's go on for it. Because I didn't really have any prior idea about UK. Because my plan was not for UK before. That was that one story for another day. But then I was like, okay, let's just go on. Then I said, okay, what do they need? Then first off, like I mentioned, our passport is really important. So the first, I think about data page of your passport, and then the school will ask for your first degree results. So that was one thing that we attached as well. And then what else? We paid for application fee, but this time I'm talking about 2022. So I know things have changed. I know things have changed.
Yeah.
Things are like, let's talk about the old exchange rates. Yeah, but then as at that time, I can't remember the particular application fee, but I'm not sure it was something much. Maybe let's just say around, I can't really be sure of, like maybe around 20K or 30. I can't remember. Let me not just put a guess, but then it's always on their website if you want to apply for any school. So yeah, so we applied to those schools, and then he made mention of this particular school. I later came and was like, oh, they have this kind of cheap discount school fees. You can just pay a particular amount of money and then you come in. I was like, okay, let's try that. But before they gave me admission, I've gotten about 2 admissions in another school. So those were the things like I was saying before. So I used my passport, my first degree results. They asked about and transcript as well. Yeah. So that one too was really important at the first point of application. So transcript, and as well you write your statement of purpose. Really important. So yeah, he helped with the statement of purpose at the beginning, but yeah, this is where I'm still going to get to some parts of that statement of purpose. So yeah, I applied to that, and I applied for project management because my first degree was in agriculture. So sometimes people tell you, okay, let your masters be in relation to your first degree. I tell you, it doesn't matter. So far you can write a good SOP and then you can write it well and suit what you want, you're good to go. So yeah, we did that, and then we got some free rest. I think sometimes people are always wondering, oh, like how many weeks is it going to take for you to get a response? I think he didn't. I'm not sure it was up to a month, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, because at that time they were really, really bringing people in. So it was like admission was in progress. So definitely they were not going to waste time, because I think the schools, most schools in the UK run their sessions January and September. So if you're coming for January, that means from the previous year, from September, October, you should have started preparing towards January. Same thing for the September, from January, like that, they will have started. So it doesn't take time because they have a lot of people. So they want to, screen some people out and do a lot of that. So yeah, so I applied, and then I got some feedback. I'm not sure I even got, I think from like 2 schools I didn't get feedback, but I got 2 admissions from 2 schools, but their school fees sent me away because I was like, what's that? So it was about £17,000. So as at that time, and two schools, I think they have that same price, and I was like, no. And most of the schools in UK, it's not even most, all schools you have to pay 50% first before you even do any other being and say you are come to UK, you have to pay 50% of the school fees first. So yeah, that was what happened. And when we tried, because I think one thing I had is, please just apply to many schools, because it will give you edge, like you'll be able to choose, like, okay, I think I can afford this, or okay, I think this one is good, so that it can help. And then how to know schools to apply to, like I mentioned, it was one of those agents that have already applied to some schools for people. So I think sometimes based on people's feedback, you can use it to apply as well. And then check online, there are lots of like top schools, check reviews, check their installment plan. It's really important because UK doesn't joke with their money. So it's important to check, okay, this installment plan, because most of the schools gives you 5 or 6 times installment to finish up your school fees. So if you see that, please go for it. Maybe along the line, maybe I might drop some in the chat box to just, or maybe if anyone wants to reach out to some schools. Yeah. So yeah, so it's important to check those installment payments, because I'm going to share, because I'm here to share my practical life experience. So I'm going to tell you, but this were the first part of the application. So we applied using those documents. So I got some feedbacks. I was like, no, 17,000 is too much. So we left that. Before I now applied to this school where I later came. So when I got the admission, and I was like, okay, what is the school fees? Their school fees was 15,100. So I felt like, okay, that was good enough. 15,100, and they'll give you scholarship of like 2,000 off it. So that like 2,000, from 2,000, 1,000, depending on, I think, on how fast you pay the first 50% or something. So yeah, that was how I get the admission. So it was more like based on feedback from people, and then people that were already there. That was how I was able to apply to the schools I applied to, and then finally got into the one I finished my master's degree. So yeah, I don't know if I've answered the question, but yeah. So those are the
I
steps.
said, how do you apply for the master's degree? So I think you touched
Yeah,
on everything that we need. I
yeah.
asked for
So
how did you apply? So you already touched on that. Yes.
okay,
Okay, that's actually cool. So hey, the next question. The next question is important because
okay.
affordability for people that are coming from other from country like Nigeria now. We need to know the
Mhm.
affordability. So how were you able to choose? I know you touched on that, but I just wanted to, elaborate more on it. Like, how did you
Okay.
choose affordable schools to apply to? You said through your agent, and if you can list some of the schools that you know, I think it will be
Okay.
helpful. But if you can't, no problem. But
And
somebody asked that, can you list the schools, right? Maybe if it's
okay.
two or three that people can look in.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can do
But
that
if
later
not,
on. It's fine. I can just drop some schools in the chat box. Yeah. So it's fine.
all right. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, yeah, it's fine. So you were saying that how to get affordable schools, right?
How to choose affordable schools? How do we know affordable schools?
Okay.
There are some schools
I
that they will
think
tell you they will give you scholarship, but by the time you remove the scholarship from the main school fees, the school fees is still heavy. So
it's
I don't
still
understand the
I
scholarship.
know. I know. I
So
know,
how do
right?
we?
I know because it's even my school, because at that point when it was 15,100
So I want to know.
and they were giving 2,000, 1,000. I think at the end of the day, I got, because like I said, I deferred my admission at some point because of my visa. So the first part, I was given 1,500 scholarship on the 15,100, but because I deferred my admission, the next time I was going to like pay more, I was given 1,000 pound scholarship. So that's like I was paying 14,100. So, and then out of the 14,100, I had to pay 50% of the school fees, like right there, right there in Nigeria. So before coming even to the UK at all. So I had to pay 50% of the school fees then. So how to know affordable schools? Like I said, one way I know that is
Oh,
really effective is through people's reviews, through people that have actually been in the UK. See, sometimes I don't always like the fact that people just go online and say, "Oh, I saw something." Sometimes I believe in practical. Like, have you been there? Were you in that school? How did you know that they are affordable? So, I'm always very keen on saying that it's important to have, like, to get in touch with someone that is already in the system, that knows how these things work. I have quite a number of friends that it was when I got there, I was like, oh my god, your school is more cheaper than mine, or they even have a kind of a let me say a much more better payment plan than the school I got into. So it was really painful. I was like, what happened? Even though I know that it was some agents work, but along the line we actually did it as in fact I feel bad because I was like, why would I pay that much? I even if I had paid that much, I know that I still like got to school that their payment plan was really, really, really flexible. My school's payment plan wasn't flexible, I can tell you, because their installment plan is it, I think it's 3 times or 4 times for you to balance the remaining 50% when you come in. Why some schools have about 7 installment plans, 7 times, so you can pay your 50% in 7 times.
wow.
So they've split it for you. So it's important that's why I'm like, I'm always like keen to say the person that has been in the system is the best for you to get these affordable schools, because sometimes you might go online. I know that some reviews they will tell you the right things, but some they won't go into details. So it's important that, so that's the most effective way I can say. And then the other way is just like going online, because sometimes when you just type most of these things are online. UK and everything, they don't really hide their information. You see everything on their website, the amount they are paying, everything they are paying. So one fast way to get affordable school the school fees is through someone that's in the system. Then the other one just going online, and then if you have an agent or an agent friend, not necessarily pay them or something, you can get information from there. So those are the like, but the first top important one I would suggest is just get someone that is there to tell you, oh, this is it, because it's important. I don't want stories like I saw some. No, I don't want to say I saw. I am there and then I see. So it's very important because a lot of people don't know how it is until they get into the system. So it's better to know someone that is in the system already that will help. So that's just the most important, like the most effective way that I know. Yeah.
So some schools even allow seven, like you pay
Yeah, of
7 times.
course.
That's
Seven
very
times they will
interesting.
split you
That's
fifty
very
percent.
interesting.
So,
That's
and if
very
they won't
interesting.
disturb you, I know of a friend that even till she wrote a final dissertation, which is a project, she wasn't disturbed, and she was not even done paying the 50%. So it was like they were just giving you time. They didn't even send you messages.
Wow.
My school was just I think 3 times or four
Information is
times, and
powerful.
information is very powerful. And then my own school is about 3 or 4 instruments. And even before I was even done my first semester, I had paid everything. So you can see the difference. So schools differ, same as the way they approach their own payment plan thing. So it's important to actually go for those ones that will give you peace of mind, please. It's
Thank
important.
God.
So, yeah. Yeah, so that's how it is.
Wow. Me sef, shall not consider UK like this.
Ah,
If-
ah, no. No, now you already. I don't think you want UK now, Chevy. It's Canada. It's Canada or US.
you think Canada is that easy? It's not only
I
Canada.
know. I know.
Anyway, the next question, I think you've touched on it. Yeah, it's not actually easy. That's why a lot of people are moving to the
Yeah.
UK
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the Canadian process is very long, and sometimes
It
you
is.
can wait. After
Mhm.
waiting, at the end of the day, they will tell you that you are not. UK, they are open. Like you will know within few months. You will know where you are going. You
Exactly.
will know where you are headed. So it's just
That.
straightforward.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when we talk about US, it's about the visa interview deny you. You can imagine after getting scholarship, getting everything,
Yeah.
and they will
I
just deny you.
know.
So
I
everything
know.
just that's why people are rushing to the UK anyway.
Yeah. 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 That's true. That's true.
All right. So the next question you've actually touched on it, but maybe you may have addition. It's just about the
Okay.
materials and documents needed to apply for study in the UK. So you already talked about the passport, the SOP,
Yeah.
um, the degree. They will have to send the copyright through DHL
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
it called?
Yes. Yes.
The
Yes. A copy.
transcript.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you. I'm going to like stress more because there are a lot of schools has different process where they do their
So I
how
think
they
you've
do their
already talked about that one.
yeah. So sometimes like now I would say that transcript is no longer effective anymore because I'll say that most people have now started let me say forging. Yeah. So in place of transcript now they ask for a recommendation letter from your school.
Mm.
So even when I applied with transcript from the beginning, because my school, after they've given you an offer, they would term it a conditional offer, which I was saying earlier that you have to meet either pay a particular, maybe they might tell you pay about £3,000 out of your school fees first. Then they will return an unconditional offer for you. That means you've met the condition and then you can proceed with every other thing. Why some people you might have to pay like some maybe lesser amount of 50% or something like that. So after doing that, my school does this interview. They call it credibility interview. So not all schools does that, but my school did it. So even after I was offered an unconditional offer, I had to go through an interview. And that interview, you either fail or pass. So if you fail, that's the end of it, no matter the amount you pay, though they will return it later on. But they'll go through the credibility interview, which they will like. In fact, it's a rigorous process. In fact, I was reading for it like I was going for one job. God. So it was like you will face one of the representative from the school. So these are the processes after you have applied even. So you might think, like on my school, I think they still do it. So you will go through it and then they will ask you, okay, how much do you have in your account? I think maybe later on we're going to talk about the money to have in the account. But yeah, they will ask you how much you have in your account. Are you sure you have everything? The living expenses, your school fees, because then you will have run proof of fund. You must show them the evidence. So after that, they will ask you what course are you coming to study? How does it relate to maybe your SOP? You must make sure that you already mastered your SOP. So I was saying along the line, you need an SOP, but along the line they returned my SOP because it wasn't fundamental. If I had known that I could draw these things myself, at the end of the day, I wrote my SOP myself. I wrote my SOP myself and they stamped it like, oh, this is good. Because I related it to my first degree, which was Agric, and then I did project management. I was like, Agric is project, blah, blah, blah. So it's important. That was what I was saying earlier, that it doesn't matter your first degree, just write your SOP. And thank God Auntie Coach Gab is here. She writes SOP, so, so she knows what I'm saying. So yeah. So yeah, it's important. So they will ask you, why is it this and that? How does it align with your goals? Why do you want to come to study in the UK? So these are the things that they prepare to know, that are you sure you really did all these things yourself? Do you know where you're coming? They will even ask you, where are you going to live in the UK? Even if you've not even secured an apartment. So make sure that you've already searched and researched all of this, because they don't always want you to come looking stranded in their cities or in their streets and they'll be walking around. So those are the parts of the process that it takes, just to put in mind that, oh, this is what the application is going to take. So after the OCI, if you pass, that's the credibility interview. After you pass, that's when you now attach your recommendation letter. So it's important, if we don't have the recommendation letter, if you're planning to come soon, it's important that you get it as well. Because I didn't know, and that time school was on what's it called? It was on strike. So in fact, it was just God. I had to like reach one or two persons that was like still in the system. So that was how I got recommendation letter from school. That was what they used, because this were like transcript has been forged over and over again, and they don't really value it anymore. So recommendation letter from the school is really important. So from there, the other parts, I think, yeah, sometimes they hack for IETLS. Yeah, but I didn't do IETLS because I know a lot of people have been asking me, oh, right now people are saying IETLS. I didn't do IETLS, but I have relevant one, which is my English language. So you can use the English language in WAEC, which is relevant, because it's just for them to know that, okay, IETLS is just the whole English speaking, listening, and your WAEC covers for it. So yeah, so you can use your WAEC to like replace that. So that was what I used to come in. I didn't write IETLS.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's important as well. So just know that, don't
Wow.
don't panic. So yeah,
Information is powerful.
so yeah, so I didn't
Yeah.
write ITLS. So but I
Information
know
is
that it's
really
important.
powerful. Imagine.
Yeah, I know. I know, right? Because I know that some people have asked me, and I was wondering, how did I come in? Because someone was like, I saw them saying, I said, don't have to bother about it. They're just looking for a relevant thing that is like English. So you have WAEC now, and you did English language. Even the CCs, they're good to go. So you don't have to have an A or B. Even CCs is good to go. So it's English, and everything is English everywhere. So, but I know that nurses, they have to do ITLS if you're a nurse. Because I have a friend that wants to come into UK, and she's a
Okay.
doctor. She's even a doctor, so she had to write ITLS. Those ones, for nurses, for doctors, ITLS is really compulsory. But if you're coming to study, in fact,
Wow.
you don't stress yourself. So yeah, so those are the things I think, yeah, those are the things that you really need to have, aside from the funds and a lot of that. And then another thing you need that is really important for application is your tuberculosis test. Yeah, so you have to do tuberculosis test for the UK. So in fact, says it was so funny because at that first time when I did my when I before I deferred my admission, at the visa stage, I had already done my tuberculosis test. In fact, tuberculosis test cost a lot. I don't know if it has increased now, but at that time, I think one person is about 37,000 something for a particular test that will last just for six
Wow.
months. So the validity of the certificate is just for 6 months. So once that expires, even if your visa has not been out, you have to do another one. So as I'm like, traveling requires a lot of fun, especially if you are doing a self-funding. It was a lot. That's why I was like, I was frustrated and I almost gave up because a lot of money has been spent. And I'm like, why are we all just back to square one? So it was, like I don't even want to imagine that situation again. So you have to do tuberculosis test as well, and it's only done in Abuja and Lagos, no other centers. So you have to book. And sometimes if you don't book early, you might not get a very good time because a lot of people are always on that site and all. So tuberculosis test is important because even after this credibility interview, they will ask for it. You have to attach it. So it's after the interview that you now have your CAS, which is your confirmation of acceptance of studies. So that's what you use to apply for visa. So those are the steps. So you need your tuberculosis results, you need your SOP, you need your WAEC, especially your English is really important. And then you need your CV. I think I attached my CV. Just that's at the beginning of the application. Yeah, that was at the beginning of the application. I attached my CV with my first degree certificate, and then what other thing was that? Nothing. So I think yeah, then my passport for my biodata page of my passport. So I think that's it. So yeah, but thank God I remembered the tuberculosis test and then the because it's important. It's just for 6 months. Yeah, like I was saying. So I did this test twice because the first certificate expired when I deferred my admission because it only lasts for 6 months. So I had to do another one. In fact, the second one I did, that was like at the visa stage again, it was looking like, hey God, am I going to be stuck again? It was just barely, should I say, but it was barely 5 or 6 days for the second one I did to expire. That's when I came to the UK. So it was just like, it was just God at work, honestly. So yeah, so those are the things I believe that you need. Yeah, though I know that was 2022 slash 2023. Things might have changed a little, especially with prices of some things now. But even if anything wants to change with schools application or whatsoever that they ask for you, I'm not sure it's going to be so much than all those things I've listed. So yeah, those are the major things you need. Just write your SOP well and then you're good to go. You get the course that you want to study. Yeah.
I don't know that nurse or doctor in the UK will have to write IELTS. I did not know. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
knowing that.
Yeah, they have to. Yes.
I was
In fact, I
thinking
didn't know.
that they would do a special test.
No, they have to do ITLS
I
and
didn't know that.
they have to before they can come in. Yeah, it's one of the.
Wow. Wow, that's nice. Thank you for the detailed explanation. So
Yeah.
for Adeleke that says he loves UK, better start getting prepared from now, so that the whole thing will not be too much on you. So you can just start
Yeah.
getting prepared
Wanted to
now.
start to.
All
Yeah.
right. So my next question is, I think you answered this also, but I don't know if it's for all schools. Like, what is
Okay.
the how long does it take to know the admission decision?
Mm,
Like after applying, I don't know if it applies to your school alone.
okay. Um. Well, like I said, I
Or
applied
it's for
to
all the
about.
schools in the UK.
Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, I think I applied to about 5, 6 schools, and I'm not so sure that because let me say, if I can remember vividly well, it's been about 3 years now. So I think I applied. Let's say I started applying as at September, and by the December, was it September? No, 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 January. Yeah. So I got a feedback by the end of the January. So I was like, I'm not sure it's up to a month. You already know their stand, and some don't reply. You get, so some reply, you know that okay, you were not selected or something. But if you've been offered an admission or something with them, even if it's a conditional offer, you will see it in less. I think the highest that you can maybe did not hear from them is maybe a month, maybe from 2 weeks, 3 weeks to a month. You definitely hear from them. I'm not sure it's only applicable to my school or schools because, like I said, if you are running a session to admit people, definitely they start sending out messages if they want to pick you, if your SOP relates to what you're studying, if they've seen that okay, this is person is actually really solid on the point or the reason why he or she wants to study this in the SOP, then they will definitely contact. So I'm not sure it takes long. It's not only my school, it's all schools. Yeah, at least at most a month, let's just put it that way, you get a feedback. Definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is what I know a lot of people want to know. So about this proof of fund, how to cover the living
Oh,
expenses and everything. I think this is
okay.
the interesting aspect. I know a lot of
No.
people are like, how will I cover all these payments? For you, I love the fact that your own was not like 100% scholarship, so you are in the right position to actually talk about this,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
how?
Oh, sis, I'm laughing because it's a lot. I know it's a lot, and that's I'm like, and as at that time, things are not as expensive as it is now. So, in fact, it's a lot. So, okay, in 2022, when we started the whole thing, because especially if you are coming in with your spouse, you have to do a proof of fund that covers the two of you, because it won't be like, don't find the school does not have any concern with your spouse. You are the only one that they are targeting. They don't care. Maybe you are later bringing in you're going to bring your spouse. So what they want to see first is your own proof of fund. But to apply for your visa, it's important that you run the proof of fund for yourself and your spouse. So the proof of fund that I used then was about 60 million. So that was for me and my husband. So we actually just did
Is it
like
for you and your husband or you alone?
no, for me and my husband at
Okay.
that time. So it was 16 M. Mine was about 12 M. His home was 4 M. So mine has a higher because definitely I'm the one schooling. So my own school fees has added to the living expenses. So yeah.
Okay.
So the living expenses, it will be in your unconditional offer. Everything you need to know about what you're going to use. So you
Okay.
know how to like convert it to Naira. So they put everything there. So it's not like you're just using it based on okay, let me guess. No. Your school fees, which is 15,100, then they put your living expenses. So it's going to be there. So it's not like
Okay.
you're going to be trying to like rack your brain. No. So everything will be there. So it was the calculation we used and be like, okay, for myself, let's add this because it has to be in your account as a student, right? It has to be your own account. So even if you know that okay, I don't have a lot of money and blah blah blah, and then how to raise the money. I know a lot of Nigerians know some part and say, okay, yeah, let's reach out to some people. Though part of it was like some savings, right? But the other part, I think most people know that, okay, sometimes we reach out to people and say, okay, just put it in my account.
They
That's
know
what
how
I'm
to
like,
do that.
they
They
not,
already
you know
know
now.
how to do that. Yeah.
You know now, so they already know. So that's it. But the thing is, I'm just being like, don't pressure yourself too much on it because it's a lot of money, and at some point in time people be like, let me just let this thing go away because I can't afford it. So don't pressure yourself. That's what I'll say at for, because it's a lot. So that was how we did it, and then paying on it to, like I said, everyone has to go about it. So that was it. So it wasn't like, oh, no, this guy has money. No, it's just
No,
that
of course.
a
Yeah.
hand. So that's how it is. So it's just that it was a little bit of okay. There were some savings that helped the whole thing. So that's how it is. But as at then, that was 2022. I know that things have changed now. So as at that time, I paid 15,100, and that was how I was able to like convert it and use 16 million for my proof of funds. So I don't know how 15,100 will be now. As at that time, I think black market rate was 700, 800, and then bank rate was around 500, 600 for
Wow.
exchange rate.
That's true.
So
That's true.
and so
But now
it
that it's
made
1.5, 1.6,
exactly.
hey
So
God.
that's the thing. So it's now kind of, and then the proof of fund will last for about a month in your account because they want to see it like you have it. So you print out the statement of account, you attach it with the whole thing that they ask for if you want to like give you your CAS, which is what you use for application for visa. So but I think at some point they were saying, oh, maybe they're going to increase the amount. But I don't know if it worked after I left. But then it was 1 month. That's like the total amount of time that it should be in your account. And the same time of account, you can use it to apply for your visa. So you don't have to keep it running for too long. So that was it. Between the same month, as I printed it out, gave them, okay, this is it. And then for the CAS, that same month, you can use it to apply for your visa because it's still that same month. And then because visa as well needs just 1 month for it to be in your
Okay.
account. So that's just it. So you don't have to like keep leaving it there. You can just print it out at once and apply at once so that you don't keep on incurring a lot of money on it. So yeah. So that's how you can do it.
I'm happy for you and your husband. At least you will not be the only one carrying the burden.
I
It is you and your
know, I
husband.
know.
Yeah,
It's
that's good.
I
Well,
know.
hey, that reminds me. Is it true that they
Yeah.
don't allow spouse to come with
Okay.
anybody that is going for masters? That is only PhD. I just wanted to
Ooh.
clarify that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it was. I think last year there was a new government. So we elected new people, and so they were
Thank
the
God
ones.
for you and your husband, though.
I know. In fact,
You
when
guys
I came, I was like,
escaped it.
God. And for the fact that, you know what, sis, for the fact that I came in first before my husband, I didn't come with him because, like I mentioned, the visa stuff was like a whole lot. And then we've spent a lot of money that when it was not time for visa, things were high. It was not looking like, oh, I'm going to leave this thing. But God just knows how He does His things, right? God as He does His things. I was supposed to resume maybe on the February and the January. Let's just okay, we're already in February. I was thinking we're in January, so I'll use it to like illustrate. But then let's say we're in January and I was supposed to resume February 9th. As of January 20, I don't have my visa. And I was supposed to resume because the last day of registration was February 9. And I didn't have my visa. In fact, I was like, I'm not just going again. So that before I said God just came through, people just like were willing to help. And then we traveled to Lagos to do the visa. So I booked because yeah, like I was saying that it's something that at the end of the day we started doing ourselves. So for visa as well, if you're scared, you can do it yourself. My husband applied, did our visa application himself, paid for IHS, did everything himself and for us, for himself as well. So along the line when we saw that all these things, because even after I did my credit interview, the remaining sections I did it myself. So I was following up with the school. So it's important. Yeah. So I think you were asking. I'm sorry. I'm just digressing. I don't want to miss out some important things. So yeah. Like you mentioned that for how long are you going to get feedback? So one important thing I noticed is that they love follow ups. So if you've not gotten a feedback, please send a message to them, send an email, like be really, really consistent with it. They will definitely reply. So that's one thing I noticed with schools in UK. Even when I got in, I noticed that they really love you checking up. They really love you following up. So it's really important. So that really helped. So yeah, following up on the school to helps if you are feeling like, oh, I should have gotten a response. So it's important. Please follow up and then send emails. So yeah, like I was saying, so I later got a way to like book my visa application because my husband did everything and then we book a date because there were two kind of okay, like three before I got the money for visa application. I think the first you can actually do the first kind of visa you can do is the oh no, how can I? I've forgotten. There's the normal standard visa. Thank you. There's this normal standard visa. Then the next one, you can do a priority, and then you can do a super priority. So before I was even like having that money to like this, they already stopped priority for Nigerians at some point. But because they knew that people were rushing in September intake, January intake, so they brought it back again. So then, but I didn't have the money for Paris. If me that God just even helped, like send help to my way to like book for visa. So you didn't just book for like we just book for standard visa, and standard visas take 21 days for it to come out, 3 weeks. And then I was in 20th of January. I was supposed to resume February 9th, and I'm looking for 21 days of visa. We were like, okay, let's just borrow money. And like, that's that I'm trying like I'm being real because I know that this is life. And then sometimes when we feel that we don't have what it takes, we might be like, let me be left in my space. Please reach out to people. In fact, I've learned it a lot in the UK. Reach out to people. In fact, it's important. Oh God, I know I'm quiet and I don't talk, but I've learned a lot within my short stay. It's important to speak up. So we were trying to say, okay, let's get some money from people. Let's do priority. We were trying the system for long. This priority wasn't working. I wasn't able to book for priority. And this is the way they do it. If you've paid, you can only pay for standard visa first, then you now book for priority. There is no to get money now. So it's not like you can just pay for priority straight. So it's from standard, you now book for priority. So I already done standard thinking that I would get priority. I didn't do it. So cut long story short, I couldn't book for priority. I had to go for the 21 days. So this is me sharing my testimony because I've already told God that anywhere I get my opportunity to say it, I'm going to speak it. I'm going to say it to people to believe that God exists and He answers her. So it was at that point I was like, I was with my husband. I was crying like, how am I going to wait for 21 days? The school has told us that they're not going to extend the time because you have to come and do your physical registration here. It wasn't an online, so I have to be here latest February 9th, or else my distance is gone, my admission. And I was in 20th of January. They're telling me to do 21 days visa. I didn't have a choice. I was like, how am I going to do it? We couldn't pay for Paris, even when we even had borrowed the money. So sometimes God just does things. Even if you borrowed money, it might still not work because God has the best plan for you. So that was how it was. And I did it like that. I cried. I cried. We prayed. We fasted. It was just a lot. And then God just sent His word and said, don't worry. I'm going to hasten it for you. I thought it was a joke. We've not even gotten back to our base. I've gotten a message that my visa application has already moved to the decision-making stage. In less than, my visa came out in 3 days. Let me just put it that way. My visa came out in 3 days. 3 days. A visa that comes out in 21 days. God really hastened it. Like, it was even hastened more than a super priority visa. So, I'm just telling you that if God is in the story of your traveling, I think He works whatsoever He does. He will just make it work. So, yeah. So, I don't want to digress too much, but that's how I did the whole thing of applying, getting into the school, and then coming to the UK. So I didn't come with my husband. I think that was where I started from. So I
But
did
at
it
least it's
first.
not with you. That's the that's
Yeah,
the
it's with
comfort.
me. That's it. So he came about 3 months or something about after. So yeah, coming to the old rule that they've changed now. So I think it was last year they changed it that no more spouse, but there are some courses that you can bring in your spouse. Tell me how I know because I'm here. So that's why I'm like, sometimes if you don't have someone there, you might not know. You might just think, oh, it's all these schools. So there are some research courses that you can do, and you are 100%
They are
eligible to
like
bring your.
master's research courses, right?
Yes, master research courses.
Okay.
So not just taught programs, because I did a taught program because I was 100% in class. Though we did some practicals or research, but it was a taught course, so it was more of like one-to-one sessions. But the research is the one that you can bring your spouse. So it's 100% you can bring your spouse. So yeah, so that one is still in existence. They didn't rule out that fact. So yeah, you can bring in your
All
spouse
right.
if you going through the research stuff routes. Yeah, you can bring your spouse.
I still feel that the most important thing is just to commit everything in the hands of God because
Yeah,
all these
that's
things they are
it.
not like let me just go and
Exactly,
do it.
sis.
You have
Yes,
to
sis.
just commit
That's
it in
it.
the hands of God.
Yes, that's
Right?
it.
Imagine
That's
within
it.
3 days, what's supposed to have taken 21 days. That's
Yeah,
just God. That's
yeah,
God,
that's it.
honestly.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right, so my last question, I think it's my
Okay.
last question. So how has been life? Okay, before then,
Okay.
were you working part time to sort out day to day funding and
Okay.
everything? Were you working like? Does the master degree allows people to work? Because I feel like a lot of people work while they study, unlike
Yeah.
US that you can't just go and work, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. Thank you, sis. So yeah, as a master's student, you can work a master's or PhD. You can work 20 hours per week.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So you
And
can
it's
work.
easier to get job for students, or
Oh well,
is it's
it's
not
I would say it's quite easy and it's not really easy in the sense that because most companies, they feel like, oh, you can only work 20 hours. Why am I going to be paying you? So it's quite like a lot of struggle. And because we have lots of students, everyone is into that space. It's quite like it's a saturated environment. Like, I don't know how to put it. It's quite saturated, almost heavy sectors. So they will now feel like, why will I now put a student that only works 20 hours? So it might be a struggle, but then, like I said, I was going to be really frank and plain because I believe that we all came from Nigeria with the mindset of, how will I be doing this kind of work? But then, from the
You are not in your
beginning,
country. You are not in your country. We are in
I
another
know.
country, so I understand all those ones. You are not in your
Yeah.
country. When you are in Nigeria, you can come and be doing all those things. And it's just for
So
some time. It's not as if that is how you're going
exactly,
to be living your life. So,
exactly. So there's
honest, don't
what I've
force.
discovered is that there's dignity in labor. So and one thing about this is that makes it really different. Just like you said, we are not in Nigeria. You are paid the same minimum wage everyone is getting. Whether you're doing a cleaning role, we are doing a warehouse role, you and a nurse or a doctor, you're being paid the same minimum wage per hour. So there's no difference between you all. So it just feels like you might think, I mean, I'm doing a cleaning role, just like in Nigeria where we have why you be doing a cleaner role because you're paid change and no, that's
When
you
they
you
come,
got
they will know.
so that's how it is. In fact, I've done cleaning role. I think I was sharing on my LinkedIn page, and everybody was like, "Wow, you've gone through all of that." And I'm like, well, I don't know. How am I going to do it? And at the point, that's why it's really one advantage is come with your spouse. Your spouse works full
To
time.
support you.
He works full time. He's not restricted to any hours. He's not restricted to anything. He works. He can work round the clock. No one is going to take him. But you can work round the clock because if you do, it's going to affect your study. It's going to affect everything. Because if you work too much, it's going to affect your visa at the end. Yeah. So home office actually watches everyone the way you work because you are being paid based on some particular your NI, your national what's it called? So your NIN. So it's being paid through that. So if you work more than 20 hours, they will know. So you will not see it now. It's after your study where you are trying to like maybe you want to like extend your visa. That's where you know they might refute your visa at that point because you've worked more than what you should work. So that's why sometimes it's important to come with your spouse. It just gives you an edge. So your husband works full time while like the spouse support. In fact, I think it's the best you can ever have. It really helped me because studying
Yeah.
here, I think
It's
maybe the
best
next
going
question
as married
is really important. It's
persons.
really the best. That's all I can say. It's the best. Maybe the next question we're going to talk about how the study is. It's not really easy studying here. People tell you and say, "Oh, nah, it's the same as Nigeria." You just get there. My sis, in fact, I cried at somebody like, "Why did I come?" It's a lot
No,
of
it's
this.
just it's just that when you get to a new environment, that's how it is. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
part of
different. Yeah, so it was really difficult to like get used to how the whole thing is. And then the way they do their own marking, oh no, is different. You cannot cite yourself. You have to paraphrase words. Just the way we used to do project that we just do copy and paste of references. You don't do copy and paste. You have to paraphrase each word. You have to cite once like maybe you wrote a sentence like this. You have to cite the person that said it. So if you want to write the so if you want to write
ah,
a sentence and you find that, oh, it's the perfect sentence, they will ask you who wrote it, who said it. You can't cite yourself. It's wrong to cite yourself. You can't write words that maybe you formed from your head. No, you have to find someone that wrote it. So if I visit my book, every like in one paragraph, you have to you might see 20 citations of people. So each line citation, this person wrote it. So imagine now like do all of that in school and then you now come back and say you want to go and be working. I don't think it's really not advisable because it's a lot of pressure. And even the 20 hours, that's why I'm saying coming with spouse is the best because 20 hours doesn't does not pay your school fees. In fact, your house rent is just a lead to that is going to pay. So even if you're working 20 hours, let's say you're working 20 hours and you're because I think the minimum wage now everyone gets at least is £12 per hour. Let's say you do that for like maybe you get 20 hours and then let's just say in summary, I
it
guess
can't
about
cover.
500. It can't because even if you're using you are living in a shared apartment, because for students here, the most advisable place they will tell you to stay is a shared apartment where you share maybe 5 rooms and then maybe share kitchen with people. I think the least now, because there's some cost of living to, like, it has actually gotten high recently. I think it's just coming down. So the least that you can get for this kind of shared apartments, maybe you can get £500. So imagine you are the only one and you are the one doing self-funding,
It's
and
a
you've not
lot.
paid your school fees and you not paid your
It's a
school
lot.
fees. I don't know how, and you don't have food, like you're feeding, because houses here are paid monthly. The fees are paid monthly. It's not like in Nigeria that you pay a year or something. So how do you want to cope? So it's a lot, and that's like I'm grateful that, because before it came, like I think your question was like I was out, yeah, I was working, but it was on part time because I was a student, and some of those roles I got was with an agency. I know agency role, they might call you because they have lots of students on their hands. They might just is based most times on rota. Maybe today is your turn to work, and then the next 2 weeks or 4 weeks, that's when they'll call you again. So it wasn't consistent. I didn't have a consistent source of income. If not for my husband, thank God for him that he was working. I
No,
think it was just the best, because he's a dependent. He's my dependent. I'm the main applicant. So as a dependent, you work full time around the clock. And the funniest thing is, I'm not, and they get job easily than us students. So I think he came in May, and then I'm not sure he spent 3 weeks that he got a job. I'm not sure he even spent 2 weeks that he got a job. So like it was really fast because he can work full time. So everyone, they will even ask, are you a student? Are you, so it's like that. You can get a job, but it might just be like on and off. And sometimes God can do with that. In fact, the number of jobs I've done in this UK, I can't count. I've done lots of job. I've worked in a
I
pharmacy.
have a friend. I have a friend. He got
Yeah.
late to his place of
Okay.
work in the UK, and that was
Hmm.
it. They sent him
That's
home. They
it.
said he cannot log.
In fact, I think was it.
It looked
Oh
like a
no.
joke to him. He was like, "Eh."
I'm telling you.
Our-
I think I was
It's
sharing,
not Nigeria.
was it even in Nigeria, no African time, you can't come late. In fact, it was in Nigeria. I used to think, maybe you used to say, oh, white people, they are really lazy. Serious, white people are really hardworking people. They don't joke with that thing. They don't joke. If you must work and give it your 100%. Like, you can't be here and say, I'm sick. If you're sick, you stay at home. There's no, oh, I missed the bus. Why didn't you plan ahead? So they don't take all those kind of excuses and say, oh, it was raining, I didn't have a car. Why didn't you plan ahead? They don't take all those excuses. So like I think I shared on my the program that we had. I think you might have seen it, Tribe Summit, that was 2 weeks ago, that I posted the stuff. Like the woman was, I think she's been here for over 30 years. She was like, coming late is an abuse, like it's an insult to British. If you come late, and that means you don't respect them. They will even screen you out of, they didn't want to have anything to do with you again. So I can imagine what it would be going to, that the friend you mentioned about. Like they don't really just condone that. Like in fact, when we go for classes, when you're looking at the time, oh okay, maybe I have to, because thank God I got a place. Because another thing is the transportation. So imagine you're the only one, you are going to school, you are working, you are doing this, you are doing that, and you still have to take bus. Maybe your school is far away, you still have to take the bus. It's a lot of things. In fact, I've gotten a lot of people, I think when I was studying, that they dropped out. So people went back to Nigeria. So people developed some mental issues. It's a lot. And then my school, like I said, they are not really lenient. In fact, if they don't pay school fees on time, that's I'm like, please. And most important thing I'll tell everyone is, please, financially, just know that you're already, like, even if it's not 100%, like 90%, you are there before coming to the UK. These people, they don't joke with their money. Even if I know that there are some schools that are quite lenient, they will still end up collecting their money at the end of the day. So it gives you this kind of peace of mind, or maybe you already have some alternatives somewhere that is going to, like, so a lot of people are going through that, and that's like not easy. It's really not easy. So like the time that you were saying, I was saying it. So there's sometimes we go for lectures and I'm like, oh, I have lectures by 9, and I'm still like, thank God I stay a little bit close to my school. I just walk. So it was quite easy too. So before 8 o'clock, you'll have seen the lecturer. is coming 8 I don't know. They're like, people don't even used to sit a little in your office. Why are you coming 8 So they don't really joke with that because they are being watched, they are being monitored. Study here is just like you have to, like, you have your ID, you have to tap your ID when you come in. No one has to tap for you. So people tell you, fine. People go to lectures and they'll be like, oh, I might not go to lecture. I'm just going to work. At the end of the day, it tells, because when you fail a course, oh yeah, I think I'm okay. I wrote out something so I don't forget. I So if you fail a course, you have to tell that they will go through your sections if you've been attending classes. It is so that your attendance wasn't marked every time. That's another penalty. So that's I'm like, I didn't really want to take all those chances because I failed a course at some point in first semester. It was a lot for me. I just came into, I think I said I came, okay, at the end of the day when I was supposed to come in February 9th, I came on the 8th of February because my visa, I had to book for my flight. It was quite expensive. I think about 1.6 million at that time because it was close to when people were coming to school. So the whole flight ticket were high. So I had a lot of things going on. So it was really bad. So I failed a course. And one thing with the school here, if you fail a course once, fine, you can write again, but you can't fail it twice. If you fail a course twice, you're not getting a master's degree. It's a diploma you're going to get. So it's really important. That's why I'm like, please, if you have a spouse already, or if you have someone that can fund you, please just have them on standby, because it's a lot. Even if a lot of people that they were even okay, they still failed some courses, and I'm like, wow, how did it happen? So don't now talk of you are the one handling everything on your own, and the way they don't even take any say, oh, we are sorry, is it your this thing, don't worry, we help you to manage it. No, you have to write a course again. If you don't pass the second time, that's a diploma. Imagine after all the old money I've paid and I end up coming with a diploma. So yeah, so that's why like it's important if you have a spouse or if you're not married yet, just have a little part. I know that okay, this money can be coming in and help me, because you might say you might get a job immediately. In fact, the lie that they told us that when you say you can get job immediately, you say in fact,
Exactly, exactly.
oh no. I guess the UK. I think, well, it was just God, because the first job I got was with a pharmacy. Was at a pharmacy, so I was working with them, and I came in February, and before I got that job was about April. Imagine, and it was just God, because I got someone that I've never even. It was just God. I got someone that I was staying with, a female that I met online based on, oh, are you going to this and that? So we connected. Imagine I didn't have someone to stay with. I didn't get a job for the first 2 months that I was in. So imagine that I was just hoping that they've said it now. Maybe I get it like this. There's job waiting for me. So that's why I was saying at the beginning that you might get a job immediately and you might not. So it's just the only thing I'll just say, don't stop trying. In fact, I remember when I came in that February and I didn't get a job, I was like, I need to get a job. I need to get my own apartment at least before my husband comes. I was
Yeah.
walking in the rain. In fact, if I remember that day, I cried so much. I was like, I was getting a job today. I was walking store to store. So that's I'm like, people don't just see every struggle that goes behind all of this. I was walking from store to store, from different people to different people. Oh, is there an opening? Is there an opening? Do you need someone? That was how I got that first pharmacy job role, because I was walking everywhere. So if you can take it up and say, I want to get this job. I was working everywhere. In fact, I walked miles away from my house. And then I was not working. I didn't even have money to take a bus. I was just working. I was using the Google map, because that Google map is your friend here. If you don't know how to use Google Map, you might get lost. So a lot of things are just around it. So I was working all around different stores, even where I didn't see a job offer, or maybe they needed something. I was entering their shops, because anything can happen. Sometimes when you talk to people, even the place I got the first job, it was not as if they placed anything outside. I just walked into the place. They feel like, okay, maybe we can have a slot for you. And that was how I started working with them. So and that was how I got my first. And thank God, God did a miraculous. My husband came a few months after I came. And then it was from that job I was able to get money to secure an apartment for us. So I'm like, you might get a job on time, you might not, but with God, nothing is impossible. So, and then don't feel like I cannot do this kind of role. I cannot do this kind of role. Please, it's just for the meantime. It's just for
Oh,
the
yeah, my
survivor.
dear.
It's it's just for the for
Cabo.
survivor means it's honestly just for the survivor. In fact, like I said, I've done a lot of roles in this UK. I've done cleaning, I've done pharmaceutical roles, I've done support. I work with young people now.
You
And
have work experiences.
I know that. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Okay, because most of the job offers that you might want to like, oh, I think I should do this. They will ask you for UK experience. Imagine them telling you you should bring 2, 3 years experience. You that you just came in barely 3 months ago. So that's one thing too that might want to discourage you. But don't give up. There are some jobs that they will still want to take you on. So the reason why I left this role, or maybe the old manager said, "Oh, you really do well," but because of your limited hours, that's what I'm saying. That's the each to all the student. They'll say, "Oh, you only work 20 hours, and we are sorry, we don't have enough space to, to not be paying that kind of person that doesn't come every day." I think I go twice. Just 20 hours in a week it mustn't be over. So it mustn't be over 20. Sometimes I think I do 16. Sometimes I do 18 hours. So it wasn't convenient for most of those companies to take you in, but there are some people that still does the job. So that's why I'm like, if you have a support system, your spouse or the rest, you'll be okay. So that was what really helped us to pay the school fees because we paid it here in the UK at the end of the day. So it was just
Yeah.
God and things like that. Yeah.
Wow. Thank God, though. Thank God for your husband.
I
Thank God
know.
for
Thank God
support.
though.
Thank God for support. Wow.
Yeah.
This is so detailed. All right. So my final question is just to ask about how you have been faring after your master's degree. I mean,
Oh.
how has it been? And also, I would just like you to also include if people can extend their stay after studies. There are
Okay.
some schools that after you're done with your studies, you have to come back. So
Yeah.
just want you to touch on that.
Okay, all right, sis. Thank you. So yeah, I'm trying to look at because I jotted some things that I don't want to forget because I'm like I don't want to miss out some important things and then. So yeah, this particular one you ask, yes, is yeah, you can extend your stay. That's why I'm like it's you have to make sure that you do well in your study because that's what will guarantee you staying back. So if you do well, you graduate well, you don't have any courses that you've failed, and yeah, so you can extend your stay. So there's a graduate visa after your normal student visa, which is what I'm on at the moment. So there's a graduate visa which extends your stay for another 2 years. So if you've passed, you've fulfilled everything that you need to do, you don't have anything stopping you. You can just apply. You apply, and it's quite cheap now that you're in the UK. Unlike as for me, it was that kind of visa where it would be a lot, but now that you're in the UK, it was way cheaper. So that is what you can extend your visa after your study. Where while you wait for if you want to for within that, I think they give you the opportunity to like know what you want to do after. Okay, I'm done with studying now. I have extra years. So do you want to stay? Do you
To
want
be
to go
fair,
back to do you want to go back to your own country? If it's a PhD, you have 3 years, right? You have 3 years visa extended for you after your PhD. So that's I think I know that one for PhD. So yeah, I think I know about US that you cannot work if you bring in your dependents. So that's one thing with how UK kind of makes more sense if you have your spouse here. If you come in as a spouse or as a couple in the US, you can't work. So, but here you can work. So it's the same way, even if you apply. So after you now apply and then you've been granted the graduate visa, you can work full time now. So you are no longer limited to 20 hours. So yeah, you can work full time. You can do
so what of
any
your
job.
husband visa?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
going to? Yeah, still going to. Okay.
yeah. So we apply together. So you apply first as a main dependent. So after that, you bring in his own as well. So I think
Okay.
that was what I think we applied. That was last year. So after my own, then he applied as well. So we're giving the same visa, giving the same extension because it's still my dependent. So yeah, so that is how it works. So you've been given that 2 years, and then they'll give you opportunity to think what you want to do. So what people do after that is get a sponsorship if you want to stay. So that's what we and most people are always looking out for that. Okay, get a sponsorship where we are working, or probably get a particular majorly get a sponsorship where you're working. So those were the one that will now give you extended visa of 3 or 5 years, and after that you can have indefinite leave to remain in the UK. So yeah, so that's the
Wow.
process. So after you have a sponsored visa for about 3 or 5 years, at most 5 years, then you can stay indefinitely in the UK and you don't have any issues with applying for visa again. So yeah, so that's the process. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's so detailed. Don't
Yeah.
worry. I pray that God will make a way for you and your husband for the
Yes. So
sponsorship and any other
amen.
thing that your heart desires. God is going to make that
Amen.
happen.
Amen. Amen.
Right.
Amen.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
sir.
much. So, what advice, Abby, what final advice you had for people that are planning to relocate to the UK? Like,
Okay.
what's the
Okay.
advice? What's the encouragement? What do you have to say to them?
Oh, okay. I think I have some. Maybe I already know I was going to like say them. I have some written down. And first thing I'll say is, like I said, I've used myself as an example for so many situations. And what was my fear before coming was, how is the place going to be? How am I going to do well? How am I going to get the job I'm looking for? In fact, my school was also like on my neck, like on my like, how am I going to do well? When I heard of when I came in, I was seeing the kind of way that they are writing. I was like, these people are writing. Yeah, I don't know how to write like this. so, so I know the fear comes in, and but first thing I would say is, do not be fearful. That's the thing. So far God is leading you, and like there's no way I will talk about myself and I'll not say God because he's the one that even because of him I'm not sure we'll be here. So
Yes.
with
Yeah.
God by your side and then him leading you, be rest assured that everything will be fine. And then I wrote here that find a community, because like the church I go to, in fact, it feels like I'm still at home, because when you sometimes when you're in a place that you feel alone but you find the right kind of people to show you love, in fact you're good. When I came to the UK, that I was saying that I didn't have a job, I wasn't able to even pay for house rent, I found that church. And I just spoke to, oh, I haven't got a job, you know that they paid for my first house rent. And I'm
Wow.
like, so it was just like I didn't believe it. I've heard a lot of people say people in the UK don't help, even people abroad generally they don't help you. But myself, my family, myself, we've experienced the opposite of that. We've experienced so much favor. So that's why I'm starting with it, that don't be fearful. God has, if God is saying you're going, He has prepared the grants for you. Even my school fees, when it was looking like, because my job wasn't consistent, my husband was working, but the school fees we still couldn't raise it completely. God sent people. If a person I've not seen before gave us the money and say go and pay. So it was just like, even at some point when you feel like, is my journey has been a journey of grace, even from way back. It has been a journey of God has just been there. Where before my visa for the 21 days, 3 days, I came here. I didn't even know how we're going to pay school fees. Someone I haven't seen before. It was later on I saw the person. My husband said, "Oh, this was the person." I was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know." So in church as well, they paid for my house rent. They were just checking back to back, give food stuffs. Are you okay? When is your husband coming? So that's what I'm saying. God was just in the picture. So the fearful mind disappeared along the line, like, oh, God is here. So that's the first thing I'll say. Don't just entertain the fear. Everything is going to be fine. And if you come in and you feel like, oh, I don't have the job that I wish I would have, please just take it one step at a time. You're going to get the job you want. In fact, I have a lot of families here that are doing the most beautiful job I think I've ever seen. They are professors here in the United Kingdom. They are all Nigerians, they're all Africans. If I was here that they builded it. They are now associate professors. Some are professors, they have their own houses here in the UK. They are doing really good. In fact, they don't even do night shift the way they used to pack shit. I know that a lot of people have heard that UK people used to pack shit. Even on December's on Christmas, people pack shit. But these people, in fact, they only work Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock to 5 p.m. They are going back to their house. They are sleeping. They are in church. They are living in their own houses. They have, you see the cars that they are driving. People are doing really good. I have a lecturer. He's more
Wow.
like a family friend now. They are in their own house. If you see the house, in fact, I was telling my husband that
Those are
this
good
house.
testimonies to hold on to. These are
Yeah,
good testimonies to hold
honestly.
on to, not the
So
bad,
that's
bad ones.
that's I'm like,
Ha.
I'm going to use relatable and practical examples for people, not just like, I saw this. Please, there are lots of good testimonies here. In fact, I was telling my husband that this kind of house that this person bought, it's just looking like when you intentionally just built a big house for yourself. In fact, I think he has 5 rooms. If you see the sitting room, spacious, the dining, I was like, is one of the associate professors in the school where I finished from. They attend my church as well. They are doing really well. When I say they are doing really well, I'm not sure there's anything aside from the fact that fine, the cost, yeah, things are quite cheap here. If you are even working, you can your £10 can buy. If I think I went out to buy £10 and I have full bag full of things, so your £10 can buy a lot of things, and then you can use. In fact, you can eat it for the next. If you are the only one, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you are still eating your £10. So aside from that, people are living good. So I don't. I would say don't fill your mind with what you've been hearing online, because honestly, things are happening here that people are not saying. Good sides of it, honestly, people are building their own houses. I have someone
Exactly.
that I have someone, one of my lecturers as well. He wasn't even married. We went to go and open his new house. Was really late before last year. His own house. In fact, he built it. It wasn't as if he bought it. They built it from the scratch. He just got married maybe December ending. He was doing his own car. He's one of the top lecturers, senior lecturers in my school. A lot of things are there. A lot of people that are working in banks. I have them. My choir leader works in a bank. She even works remotely. She works from home. So sometimes when I see all these testimonies, I'm like, they've been telling me that don't worry,
It is
this thing
near
they've
to
done
you. Your
to
own is near. That's just the meaning. If they
yeah, you
surround
get
you,
it.
you're the next person.
Exactly. So the person was telling me I've done cleaning role before. Can you say I've done cleaning role before? Now I work remotely from the comfort of my home. So they're little beginnings, and it's just like it's a story of you coming to a new country. Definitely it's a new start. So we are trying to like put ourselves into the system, get what we want to do. So it might look somehow like rough, but definitely finding the right community, having that right mindset, and pray. In fact, I was telling someone, I don't know why people always believe that when you are abroad, you don't value God again. In fact, that is when
No.
you need God the most because if you do not have Him, your mental health is at it has risk. Is it the unfortunate is that you get every day from job interviews? Oh no! In fact, I've done interviews this year, and it's unfortunate. I'm like, I'm gonna leave it because I know that I'm one step closer to my big yes. So if you don't have that God, I don't know how you're going to do it. In fact, I don't know because I'm sorry, I can't say it without God because I think it's in every aspect of one's life. And if you want to have a perfect life, if you want to do everything, pray, do your part, and leave God to do everything else for you because is everywhere, is there with you. And so far, yes, that's why I'm like, are you sure that God has actually prepared you to travel out of the country? A lot of people are doing good wherever they are. So if you know God is really, really pushing you, don't be fearful, find the right community, prepare your mind that you're going to get the best as well. Just as everyone that have shared their testimonies tonight, you get the best. And then, no matter what, even if it's financially you're looking up to God for, God will surround you with the right people. Help will find you. Even when I never expected help came for me. Even till now, I'm still expecting. I felt when we, if I have a lot of testimonies, I've never done sharing about this whole traveling thing. Even when we came in, we were living in a shared apartment with people. It was hell because when you stay in shared apartment, it's only meant to be for students. They must not know that you have a spouse, right? So it was like that. It was not easy. It was not convenient that we were trying to manage in that small space. By the time we got this space that we live in fact, the amount that we're paying, people never believe that that's what we pay because no, it's not possible. How did you get it? It was just favor. In fact, the landlord was willing to change the whole thing on the house without increasing the house rent for us. He cleaned the whole house, he painted it again. I was just looking like, how did this happen? Like, how did we get here? So sometimes when God is in your story, it might look rough, but definitely you will
You
make
know,
sure
I
that
feel
things
people
work out.
think that if God is in it, everything will just be smooth. But there are
Oh
sometimes that
no.
God is still in it, but you still have to go through the
Yeah,
process. That's what people need
definitely.
to
Yes.
understand.
Yeah,
And
thank
having
you.
fear does not mean that God is not in it. It's
Mm,
human nature to be fearful,
yes,
but
yes,
just let the
yes.
peace of mind just cover you.
Yes.
That's just the most
Yes, yes,
important
that's
thing.
it. Please. I know that people always say, why is it that hard? Maybe people are doing this. See, a lot of people's story might make you feel, am I not good enough? But I was talking with a friend she's also here. She's one of my friend. I don't know if you know her, but yeah, we finished from uni as well. She's here in the United Kingdom as well. She was telling me, say, Lizzie, God, I feel like I'm not good enough. I'm like, we are good
That's
enough.
the enemy.
Because I know that sometimes people's story, in fact, I was at that point to late last year to this point. I'm like, what's going on? Especially when you see people's story, I'm like, this girl just secure. In fact, I've seen people that they are changing the way they say, oh, there's no job. People are changing from one job to another. Some people, I had asked for like 3 jobs at once, but just in part time day. And you feel like me, I'm just getting unfortunately what's going on. So, and she mentioned something that really stuck with me, which was everybody has the way God has positioned them, and your own journey might be fast to where you're going to. Why mine
Exactly.
might be a little bit slow, but I'm going to get there. And I'm not going to
You are still
compare
going
my
to get
journey with your journey. So that's the thing. Don't compare your journey with anyone's journey. You have your own uniqueness to yourself. You were unique the way God has made it. Like that's it. So and I've learned that along the line as well that this is who I am, this is how God has positioned me, and I'm going to work in it.
I
So
mean,
once
if your own journey is like another person's journey, so how will your journey help
that's
other people that
uniqueness.
you
That's
know?
the
That's
thing. That's it, sis. So and then again, I would say if you're planning to come as well, just make sure that you have plenty foodstuffs because for the first 3 months, you might not be able to have enough. Like I said, I was able to get a job, and some more story might be like immediately get in, they get a job. So our stories are not the same, but then I'll just say get some more foodstuffs along the line. I think that was what helped me because I came in fact, I don't think I brought more than 10 clothes at that. I was just packing foodstuffs because I know that I didn't know how it was going to be. And then I came alone at first. My husband wasn't with me. So I was like, even if I get a job or something, let me just have foodstuffs. So I had foodstuffs and plenty clothes you buy. How much are they selling clothes here? So yeah, so all of those things, they are all in stages. And if I look back to how I came and how we are now, it's a different story. It was, I think I've spent about 2 years now. So yeah, so it's a different. In fact, no, it's a different one. The level has really it has. Though we are praying
thank
for
God.
more, but we
Thank
can't say
God.
that we were you where we used to be. So that's it's just like an encouragement to you if you are there and you want to come. See, don't let anyone just say, me, I got this. Because in fact, at some point I was quite down because someone was saying, how didn't you get a job? I'm a student, I got a job. I'm a student. My husband say, is it are they your family? Or are they the ones that are doing things for you? Do not listen to anyone. Just concentrate. So far, you know you're doing it. You know you're doing what you should do, and you're praying. You're doing your part. Leave the rest. Everything will get better, and then it will all add up. And you look back and say, indeed, God has been with me, and is still with me, and I can see the evidence. So that's how it will be. I
I'm
won't
seeing
say
the
that it will
evidence
be.
already. I'm seeing the evidence already.
Oh, it's just God. So I won't say it will be so easy, but yeah, I can tell you that it will get better. That's it. And it will get even much more better. In fact, a lot of people, that's what I'm saying, surround yourself with positive people. Please don't come here and be looking for people that are always at the say that they are not
Complaining,
getting things.
complaining,
Please, yes.
complaining.
It's important to surround yourself with good people. Please, good people. And people that will speak positive words to you and tell you that don't worry, I've been there. I can tell you that you will soon come out of it. In fact, a lot of people around me, as I think they were the ones that actually helped push my faith again. When I look back, my church, they call us people of excellence because when I look around, the professors everywhere, especially I was like, all of these people, they are Nigerians.
Imagine.
And
That's
I'm
it.
like, how did you guys get here? Most of them, I'm sure, like most of them engineering, they're data analysts, they're doing well. And in fact, I'm like, people are doing good jobs here. Why do people now tag it as, oh, you can't get a job? You said to go and be cleaning people's bomb or blah, blah, blah. People do that. But sometimes some people say that's their area of interest from Nigeria and they said to venture into it, but don't say you're limited to that. People go into what they are looking for. Yeah, people are doing what they want to do. Oh, please, I don't want to have that mindset of when I get there is this thing. But then from the beginning as well, please, I don't want you to like because they say don't despise the days of little beginnings. So yeah, it might not be rosy from the beginning, but I'll say with God by your side, and for you being positive, you will get there to where you want to be. So yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. This is one of the best session I've had. I mean,
Oh,
I love real stories. I don't like hoop story. I
that
love
important.
I love real stories. Let's know the process so that we too will know how to prepare. I mean, it's not as if people are expecting to go through the tough process, but it will help us
Yeah,
to prepare. You know, it
yeah,
helps
definitely.
preparation a lot. So
Yeah.
that's just it.
Definitely.
All right,
Definitely.
so we've spent a lot of time, but if you have any question, just drop it. I think Adeleke has been the only one that has been active so far. So if you have any question
Oh,
at all before we round it up in the next 1 minute, please you can drop it in the comment section
okay. So I'm
if you
trying
have
to
any
like drop some,
question at all. And maybe after this session, okay, okay.
so I'm trying to drop some names, right? Of some schools. I think Adeleke
Okay.
mentioned that please drop. So I'll drop them. I don't know. Can anyone sis, can you see my chat?
I think you sent it to private, but I'm going to.
Okay.
You can just send it to me after the session. I'll still drop it. I'll still
Okay,
drop them.
that's fine then. Because I'm
Yeah.
trying to like say.
So any
Yeah, so I'm going
questions
to
after, people can just drop it in the comments. So
okay, that's fine. That's fine. In case you have
you
anything
can
that I've
send
not
the name of
touched.
this.
And I'm trying to look at some things I wrote and that maybe I've not touched because so that I don't miss out.
Okay.
Uh, okay. So I think and yeah, like I said, the whole application is what you can do yourself. So you can do yourself. It's not hard, and then that will even save the stress of you paying some agents because sometimes see agents can stress you. I won't lie because at some point when we're looking at this thing is going to stress us, we have to draw back and start doing it ourselves. So it's something you can do. Just reach out. Just go through the school that you want to go for.
Yes, people can do it themselves.
Yeah, it's really, really easy to do. Even talk about doing. Okay, I think there's some part that I didn't mention as well, which is your IHS, which is your health insurgents fee. So it's important that you pay before you come to the UK for the period, and it covers you for the period of your study. So you've paid for your health insurgents fee. So you just walk into your they call it GP, which is your general practitioner. So it's more like they don't call it hospital here, so they call it GP. So you have to pay for that IHS where you're applying for your visa, which will help you to walk into the GP anytime and then they'll treat you. So it covers through the year of your study. So it's in that one too. I think now because of the exchange rate as well, it has gone high. But I think at that time, I'm not sure, was it up to £1,500? I'm not sure it was up to maybe £1,500 or £2,000 for the IHS. So yeah, so you can and then there's one trick to that. Sometimes if you work with the X sector when you come to the UK, you get paid back that amount because when you work with the health center, they feel like you don't have to pay for the health fees. So if you work with the you work with the NHS, okay, they call it NHS, or even the care or the health, after paying those IHS, they return you back the money. So if you work with them, so yeah, so that's one nice stuff too. So yeah, you pay for IHS, which is important for your health because anything. I think I'm not sure I really used it though when I was studying, but yeah, it's important that you pay it. It's important that then you register with the GP where you come in just for anything. You might just sometimes they just you need any even as headache, they will give you drugs, they will attend to you, treat you. So you don't have to like because you've already paid for everything. So yeah, so that's one thing too as well that is important. And then please the study is really important. So because that's I'm like if you can have a spouse or someone that will fund you, please just find a means because they are really keen to making sure that you're 100% active with your lectures and you say no to plagiarism. I think everyone has always been hearing that plagiarism. It was when I got there, I know about the
Yeah, yeah.
plagiarism. It was in fact if your work is the same with your partner, it's either they cancel the two of you's course of study, expel you, or say who copied one who copied each other. So if you can say I'm the one, you can say I'm not the one. No one wants to say that. In fact, I have a lot of times that happened during my set. Someone copied, and the funniest part was that the person that copied wasn't the original owner. It was just that the owner didn't submit on time. So the person that copied went to go and submit before the owner. So the owner now submitted later. He felt like he was the last person that copied. So it was a lot of struggle. So those things are really important. So that's I'm like, in fact, a lot of times I'll be like, what am I going to write for this course? Because you feel like I can find even if you find the right word, if you don't find the person that said the word, it's useless. So it was a lot. It was a lot of back and forth, but thank God at the end of the day. So it does the study. So when we come here, this study is really important. Then making sure that we have the right people around. In fact, I'll keep saying it. The right people is really important because it actually boosts your faith as well and confidence that people have gone through this stage I'm going through right now. So I'm coming out victorious. I'm sure I can be confident about it. So it's really important. And yeah, I trust God that the rest God is sort it all out. So yeah, those things are really important. So please, if you
It
have
is
questions
sorted
for me,
already.
amen. Amen. Thank you
Uh,
so much,
that's
sis, for
that's the final question. I don't have any more
okay.
question.
Okay, all right.
I really feel that we touched almost on everything that
Everything.
needed to be
Oh,
said. And if anybody have another question, they will drop it in the comments. So one thing
okay.
about YouTube live session is that people get to watch it even maybe from
After
2 years later. Some people will still watch it. So that's one
exactly,
thing
that's
about
true. That's
YouTube.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for creating time because I know that there's
I
busy
know.
schedule. I have some friends in the UK that I still have some session with them, but they've not really had that time to create, and I really understand it. I mean,
Yeah,
a
a
lot
lot,
of
a
people,
lot. In fact, 24
different,
hours is
so
not
I
enough.
totally
Enough.
understand. Yeah, so I'm
It's not.
really grateful that that time you created that time to be here. So I do not take it for granted. Thank you
It's
so
my
much.
pleasure, sis. It's my big
And I
pleasure.
also
Thank
pray
you so
that God will
much.
expand you and your husband in the UK.
Amen.
God will
Amen.
possess the all of UK for you, and you
Amen.
possess UK for Jesus.
Amen. 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 That's it. That's the word. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed this section. And yeah, thank you for
Yeah.
having me. And yeah. Looking forward to I don't know, but yeah, I hope to maybe later on we speak
Yeah.
more.
Don't worry, Media Marketplace. I'm definitely going to invite you for a podcast. So that one is sure.
Oh, all right now. I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you so much. It was really nice time.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Thank you
So
so
you can
much.
just leave now. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks to
Thanks so much.
everyone that joined this session. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you learned one or two things. If you have any questions, anything at all, feel free to drop it in the comment section. And I'll see you when I see you. Bye. Thank you, Adeleke.